hello everybody, and today we are going to discuss the topic of why motorcycle accident cases are more likely to be a multi-million dollar case and why they are often mishandled. Welcome to MotoTalks with Mitch Mel, brought to you by Proner & Proner, a law firm with a global presence and expertise that feels local and personal. I'm your host and fellow writer, Mel Maguya, but today we will be sitting down with a personal injury expert and writer, Mitch Proner, a lawyer with over 30 years of experience and a writer for over 40 years, here to answer your questions and share insights you'll find useful in the personal injury world. Now, before we get started, folks, remember all consultations are free and confidential. Reach us at any time at 1-800-321-1234. How you doing, Mitch?
Doing great. How about yourself, Mel?
Not too bad. I'm eager to get back on the road again.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's that time of year when the riding weather gets nice. You know, there are people that ride year round, and I've ridden in all types of weather. But we're gonna be honest. We all like riding on a nice day. I've never met a rider that says, "Oh, I love riding in the rain." No, you know. Some people say, "I don't mind."
That's true.
That's as far as it'll go.
Yeah. That sounds like a T-shirt right there. Well, that'll be from that time. But tell us more about this. Why are motorcycle accident cases more likely to be multi-million-dollar cases, and why they're often mishandled? What do you got?
You know, I hate to say it because it sounds like I'm boasting, but the truth is they're more likely to be multi-million-dollar cases, but only in the right hands. So here's a story. The motorcycle accident case has everything going for it to be a great case.
Oh.
First of all, usually the rider's not at fault. And I say usually. Sometimes I ride my motorcycle in a way that's against the traffic rules. For example, I've always rode Harleys. Not always. My first bike was a Yamaha, but for at least 40 years I've been riding Harleys. And I think they're coming out with some sort of liquid cooled one now, but my bikes have always been air cooled. And if I'm sitting in traffic and my bike is heating up between my legs, I might do something stupid like split lanes or ride in the breakdown lane. Okay, but that's rare. Normally, the rider gets into an accident because somebody fails to see them and doesn't obey the traffic rules that they're required to obey. So one of the traffic rules, not according to my opinion, but actually when you try a case, the juries are instructed that a driver has the obligation to see what's there to be seen. So the excuse, "I didn't see the rider," means they violated the rules of the road. Another thing is, oftentimes the driver of the car will pull out from a stop sign or make a left turn, and they'll say, "Oh, the rider was speeding." Well, if the rider's speeding, that doesn't give the driver of the car the right to pull in front of them. You can't pull out from a stop. Why do you think the rider was speeding? Oh, because he came on me so fast after I pulled out. Well, if you saw him, why'd you pull out? And if you saw him speeding, why would you pull out? Or they didn't see him long enough to determine if they were speeding because they didn't see him at the last minute or the last second. Because if they saw him in the last minute, they would have had time to wait and let the rider pass. So typically, the driver of the car is at fault. So that's the first hurdle that you need to pass to make sure it's a multi-million-dollar case. Second of all, as riders, when we're involved in a crash, we typically get injured.
Yeah.
So I say I got into a crash with a car. I broke my wrist, my ankle, and 7 bones in my back. It's not like somebody in a car says, "Ooh, I got hit in the rear. Maybe I can make some money off of this.
Yeah.
Neck hurts." No. We end up hitting pavement, and the body wasn't designed for that. And we sustain injuries. And the injuries are often lifelong. So if you're going to suffer for something for the rest of your life, then you should have a multi-million-dollar case. Now, how are they often mishandled? Well, just because you call up a firm that has a billboard doesn't mean they've ever handled a motorcycle accident case.
Right.
Doesn't mean they've ever prepared a motorcycle for a deposition. So, for example, I could tell you, because I've had engineers on the stand, that a motorcycle sliding on its side can typically be expected to have the same coefficient of friction as a motorcycle with both wheels stopped by the brakes. Which means the sliding distance of a motorcycle, if it hits the car, even if it's on its side, if it hits the car, will be the same thing as if they applied their brakes and stayed upright. So the idea that the rider lost control of the bike and that's why the accident happened can be refuted by an engineer's testimony as to physics. The coefficient of friction is how much something sticks or how slippery it is. So now, whether you apply one brake or two brakes, whether you swerve, how much time you have to react, all these things can affect the physics of a motorcycle accident case, and most lawyers don't understand it.
Yeah.
Most lawyers don't know your foot typically locks up the rear wheel and your hand typically locks up the front wheel. They don't know that the horn is typically on your left thumb.
I did think about that. Yeah, you're right.
And so these different things can affect the way you present the case and the way you evaluate a case. Now, that's number one. So they've never tried a motorcycle accident case. Second of all, they're going to encounter an adjuster that's going to say to them, "You can't try this case. Everybody hates motorcycles." And they're going to encounter a judge saying, "Take less. Everybody hates motorcycles." And they're going to run the case by their wife and their partners, and they're going to say, "You don't want to try this case. Did you see what your client looks like? He's got tattoos on his head. He's covered in tattoos. He belongs to a motorcycle club. They're going to bring that up. He's a..." And you can imagine. Me, I've won cases with those guys. I presented people from different motorcycle clubs in front of a jury, and I started doing it before everybody had tattoos. It used to be that was a big deal. Not everybody had tattoos. Now everybody's got them. But I tried a lot of these cases, and I kind of learned what to do. I want to say kind of learned, because any attorney could lose any case. But I'm pretty sure I've tried more motorcycle accident cases than any other attorney. Any other attorney. And if any other attorney thinks, they say, "No, I tried more cases than you, let's do it. We'll go head to head, see who runs out of cases they've tried." Because I've done a lot of them. And I've tried them in over 30 jurisdictions, and I have lost them. But I don't think I've lost one in 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think the last one I lost might have been going back to the 80s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyway, making myself old.
You have better hair.
Anyway, no, but the point is, in order to get the multi-million-dollar case, you got to be able to make the multi-million-dollar demand. So the last case that I tried was in February, and I wanted 2.5 for my client. And the other side said, we'll pay any number as long as it doesn't begin with a 2.
Okay.
And I said, we need 2.5. Now, this was all relayed to my client. My client said, let's go. I believe in you. I trust you. Jury came back 36.4 million. But it wouldn't have happened if my client didn't trust me and was willing to go ahead. And it wouldn't have happened if we didn't ask for the number. And another case before that, my client was a member of a motorcycle club that was, anytime they're in the news, it's never for anything good. And he had tattoos all over his body. And he looked like the type of guy who could rip your arms off and beat you over the head with them. He looked as big and as solid as anyone. But he had a broken hip, non-surgical, but it was a broken hip. And we said we wanted $750 on the case. It was in a conservative venue. It was in Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay.
We said we want $750,000. They offered us $250. We went ahead with the trial, and we got a little bit over $2 million.
Oh, wow.
But once again, it was because my client trusted me, and we were prepared to ask for that type of money. Most lawyers don't have that experience.
Right.
You get a lawyer and you ask him, when was the last time you tried a motorcycle case? When was the last time you remember you represented a guy in a conservative venue from a motorcycle club? What motorcycle club? Did they try and bring it up? Did the guy have tattoos all over his body that they showed the jury? They got videos and photos of my client working out in the gym after the accident. And he was big and covered with tattoos. And I said, yeah, but he broke his hip. You don't have any videos of him working out legs? Which, that's what the case was about.
Right.
He broke his hip. Anyway, the point is, number one, the cases are good cases, but number two, you need to be prepared to handle and represent your client like it's a good case. You need to be able to explain your client's lifestyle to a jury. You need to be able to understand the physics of a motorcycle accident, to explain it to a jury, and to win the case. And then, of course, you can get the settlements because people know you're serious. Typically, the easy cases settle. It's the tough cases that go to trial. And a lot of times, guys aren't ready to try the tough case. They'd rather just call the client up and say, listen, your case is a tough case. We don't want to try it.
Oh, wow.
Now, if my client wants the settlement, that's their prerogative. I'm going to always represent to my client what the offer is and whether or not they want to take it. I had another case with a guy who's a tough biker. It was a bifurcated trial. And bifurcated means first you try liability without telling anything about the injuries, and the next case is just about the injuries. If you win, who's at fault?
Okay.
We won the part proving the other side was at fault. And then my client, at that point, once we won that part, they gave an offer. I said, we could get more trial. My client says, no, I don't want to go to trial again. Take the offer. And we ended it. And that was up to my client.
Right.
That was a case that he ended up getting 900 grand, no surgeries. But they didn't want to offer anything until we started a trial. That's the way it goes. But then I said, we could get over $1 million. He said, nah, the 900 is good. We're done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So it's up to the client. But that's why motorcycle accident cases can be multi-million-dollar cases. But a lot of times they're mishandled. Your lawyer's calling you up saying your case stinks. You know, and there's a great offer. Maybe it is. Maybe your case does stink and it's a great offer. But who's your lawyer? Ask them when the last time they tried a case like yours is. You could call up a big firm with like 1,000 attorneys across the United States. Well, the attorney you got, have they ever seen a case like yours? Have they ever tried a case like yours? Is that the one you want to go into battle with? Is that the one you want working for you? That's what you get. So that's the story.
Well, that's great information, Mitch. Yeah, there's some stuff there that I definitely learned. Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from the expert himself, Mitch Proner. If you need our help, call us 24/7 at 1-800-321-1234, where all consultations are free and confidential. That's going to wrap it up for now. And thank you for tuning in, whether it's on our podcast or video broadcasts. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't done it already, please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, like, share, and please subscribe to get the latest. Now, before we go, Mitch, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, it's the beginning of the riding season. A lot of people are rusty. Even if they've been riding all winter, they don't ride as much as they do when the weather gets nice. And your skills aren't the same.
Right.
So take it easy out there. Some people take a refresher course from a motorcycle safety foundation or just take it easy at first. And you'll get there. But remember, you're a little rusty and it takes time. Practice using your horn. Just bip, bip, bip. Just get that thumb going.
Yeah.
Just so when you need it, it's reflexive. It's a reflex,
Yeah.
and not something that you're accidentally turning on your brights, which
Oh,
I guess is better than doing nothing, but it might not avoid the accident.
Right. Right.
Second of all, practice, that emergency stop, go into a parking lot. Sometimes that little counter steer can help you to swerve.
Mm-hmm.
You got to expect that people aren't going to always be smart. As a rider, you might have had that occasion where you pulled up to a stop sign and you saw there were no cars. So
Right.
you don't even take your feet off the foot pegs.
Yeah.
You just hesitate for a moment, then you go. Well, a car could do that too, and they don't see you. And now you're in a collision. So be careful. Nobody's going to protect and look out for you like you will for yourself.
Right.
So be careful.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Mitch, for another informative session. And thank you all for checking us out. Remember, we ride just like you and are here to help you when you need us. We'll see you next time. Thanks again, Mitch.
Thank you, Mel. Be well.
You too.